What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super card game video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the new Draft Box 2-liter Caulifla and this GT deck build that I am still working on optimizing. Have done some playtesting on Untap.in and also got some physical playtesting in as well at a local card shop, and I'm still working on optimizing it, but the deck is a lot of fun, can build hand advantage pretty quickly, can sustain a nice sized board, and can play pretty aggro. So I did want to show you guys this, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, of course, for more content on this. That being said, I'm going to, of course, publish other content because I just do a lot with my channel, and I try to be diverse, but if you guys do enjoy these videos as well, let's try to hit a like goal of 300 likes on this video to show support for more deck builds, Dragon Ball Super card game content. Now, soon, very, very soon, for my subscribers that are wanting to get into the game, that are, enamored by it or interested in it because of the, the way that I produce content on it, people that haven't really had the exposure to the series or the card game in particular, just, they're from other games that I play on the channel and they're interested in it. I will be doing a guide on how to play. There are, tutorial apps. There's a tutorial app. There's other guides on YouTube if you want to check those out as well. But you guys want my perspective, I'll do that for you guys as well. So anyways, into the deck. Caulifla, she is the leader I chose for this. Now, off the bat, I can already tell you that Caulifla is an awesome leader for this just because of the attack stacking synergy with her and a lot of these other cards. The way that these Pans play, the SS3 Gokus play, she fits that archetype perfectly. So she's really good, but I can't deny that SS3 Goku may be able to do some of the stuff, the SS3 Goku leader, just because he can start off with 2 energy. He may be able to do some of this stuff literally a turn sooner. And that actually is a big deal when it comes to the card game. Not as big a deal since, Mecha Frieza's errata slowed that deck down actually kind of considerably. It can still self-awaken, but it takes away the, I'm going to awaken turn 1 and build 5 cards on my board by the second turn mechanic that deck had, which is great, right? But I can't deny that Goku can do things a little bit sooner, but she has more aggro potential than the Goku. So it kind of comes down to how you want to play it. So again, feel free to leave me your comments, your recommendations as well. So let's get into it. So Caulifla, again, draft box leader. She is able to pull from your life, which of course is good for 2 reasons. She helps build hand advantage by adding that card to your life, as opposed to some other leaders that say, oh yeah, pull from there and add it to the drop. Like I think that Goku does that gets double strike. She gets it in your hand, which is cool because you're also, again, closer to self-awakening. And on top of that, she buffs every other card on your board by 5k. So in the perfect world, I can play cards like Quick Rush Trunks and give him an extra 5k, and he's all of a sudden, by as early as the second turn, when I pop him out, a 20k critical threat. And he's a big deal. That 20k critical threat is actually a lot to deal with on the second turn of a match, because you have to combo out of it or you're going to take that hit. And if you didn't know, critical hits are just so insanely good in this game because that's not a plus for the opponent in any way, shape, or form. If my 20k goes at your 10k leader because he hasn't awakened yet because it's so early on and you have to drop 15k just to get out of that, in combo power, then you lost however many cards you lost, 2 to 3 cards, whatever happened. Or you just take the hit and you don't get that card in your hand. Of course, it helps in being closer to awakening, but you have to get out of that. So she's really, really good at that and making these unimposing cards a lot better early game. So she's awesome. And then Awaken side does the exact same thing, but she's awesome. You also can draw 2 cards as opposed to untap. I've recently come to liking the untap ability. Like if she untapped, I would not be opposed to that, but the deck actually needs hand size just for EX evolving. EX evolving requires a lot of hand size, so keep that in mind. But that's what she does as far as a leader. Again, awesome card, awesome just premise for a leader. She's able to play aggro, and I enjoy that. That's the red archetypes thing as well anyway. So all right, moving on to the deck. I chose Time Patrol Trunks, but in my kind of recommendations that I'm going to go over, there are a couple of other black cards, Power Overseeing Time and Sai Assist Fu. So we're going to go over that stuff at the end of this, but I actually chose this Trunks because of the fact that he allows me to cycle through my deck faster. So what this deck really wants to do is cycle through your deck as quick as possible. By the way, I also forgot to mention on Awaken side, Caulifla draws a card when she attacks. So again, the deck is good at cycling through and adding cards to hand and building card advantage because you need it. So that getting back to the Trunks, I chose 4 because, you know, I initially had 3, but I chose 4 because I want to see it as quickly as I can, as commonly as I can, because he's really good for 2 reasons: adding a card to my hand and increasing the likelihood of me hitting on cards like pint-sized Goku, or like the GT spaceship, Grand Tour spaceship. He's really good at that. Like that type of thing where you search top 7 or top whatever number of cards. He's really good at increasing your odds of that, because if you see something you don't want at the top of your deck, you just put it at the bottom, and that's another card out of your way, so you can look at the next card and you, again, have a better chance at hitting on that. So really nice to have him. He's also 15K. Unfortunately, Caulifla does not buff black cards, because that would be pretty busted if you could just pop a Scientist Fu out there and he's automatically 30K, I guess. But still, pretty cool card, and he gets a lot of, I don't want to say he gets flack, but he gets overlooked by a lot of decks these days, just because there are quote-unquote better, you know, the other Trunks and Scientist Fu would technically be better cards, but for this build, I chose him. Scientist Fu works as well. I just think he's a bit slower, and Trunks you can pop out really early due to the usage of like extra cards and combos and stuff like that. So that's why I chose Trunks. So on top of that, Senzu Bean, really Senzu and Whis are in here for 2 reasons, because of course you want the 5K. 5K, again, fits the archetype of this Goku SS3 needing that attack power. The one that gains triple strike, the 6-drop way at the bottom that we'll get to. So that's nice. But mainly I added the blue cards because this deck was actually basically mono red instead of like, and also 4 black cards, or 3 black cards, the Trunkses. But I really put those in because of the fact that I wanted untapped potential. And this is where, you know, SS3 Goku, the blue one, SS3, he's arguably a better leader for this type of deck because he has access to cards like Senzu Bean and Whis Coercion, which he does as well, but he also has access to a card like Unyielding Trunks, and that's another untapped. Like, this deck really, it felt like when I was playing it, it really just needed to play downhill, and it needed 1 extra energy a lot of the time, so that's why I mixed in the blue in hopes of being able to do that. You know, resisting being tapped out as much as I could. So that's why, you know, you're able to do that. And again, I like her in a opposition, I guess, to the SS3 Goku, just because she's able to build that hand size more. But I can't deny the fact that Goku's able to do a lot of things that she can do just 1 turn sooner. You know, and I'm actually not running Kaba in this deck because I know that he's a double striker. He can also assist with Awakening faster, technically. But I just didn't feel the need for him because I already had a leader that can, you know, pull from life as well. So I just didn't really feel the need to. But Goku, for example, would probably want to run a Kaba, you know, and that's another extra 4 slots that I had for stuff like this. So it just kind of comes down to preference in regards to those two. And of course, Goku does untap at the end of the turn, but that's more or less for defensive purposes if you were going to play that way. This deck wants untap offense. So Whis Coercion does untap as well, but that's cool for me being able to just combo into other cards, I guess. I really wanted to run Jiren and Topo. They're my main side deck thingy that I was looking at. But for now, they're not in here. But Strategies of Universe 6. This is a new card that's not out yet. It comes out in the next set in May. So what this card does, it's actually insane, to be honest. Like, it's a 0 drop, so it can just be played for free. No energy requirement at all. And this deck needs this card. Like, it really, really, really needs this card. It is so frustrating popping out SS3 Gokus. And you know, you can do that as early as, like, the 2nd or 3rd turn if you're lucky. It's so frustrating playing an SS3 Goku and instantly having him popped because Broly comes out or Gohan comes out or, you know, Beerus comes out or, you know, those blue drops or green drops, whatever. Like, whatever field destruction, you know, Mass Saiyan. You can't play SS3 Goku on Mass, or, you know, Mass Saiyan on SS3 because he's 6 cost, luckily. But you get my point. Like, it's just annoying. Or having your 3-drop Goku because you need the Goku right here to do anything. Having him popped by, you know, Kales or whatever, right? So this card gives barrier to everybody, and that's perfect. They need the ability to sustain at least for a turn. They need the ability to sit there and just not, because and I was playing against Mecha Veggies, and that's where this came from. I had to kind of get my 6-drop out there 1 turn sooner than I wanted to, just because GT space ship here only hit the 3-drop here, so I was forced to play him, and I was like, I would love that any other turn, but I know he's going to go out into Kale, right? So I was like, I have to play this SS3 Goku 1 turn sooner, and I wound up tapping myself out on energy. Whereas this is where Senzu and stuff like that came in, and I was like, yeah, and it basically put me in a position where he built massive advantage over me, and even even popped out a Broly anyway, the 3-drop Broly, and it's like, oh yeah, choose your card. Well, I only have one card anyway, so goodbye SS3 Goku, right? And I had SS4 in my hand, ready to play him next turn. I typically don't play SS3 unless I'm going to play SS4 in the same turn. But this card is necessary. It's incredibly good. It only works on red Saiyans, but again, the deck is all red Saiyans for the most part. So, anyways, we have Pint-Sized Warrior Goku. So I had 4 initially, and the ratio is 4 of these, 2 of Pan. I'm still playing with this. The reason why I dropped it down to 2, I might honestly put it back up to 3 or 4. The reason why I dropped it down to 2 is that it was decreasing the likelihood of Grand Tour Spaceship hitting on this Goku. I just pointed out how that isn't necessarily what I want at sometimes, but most of the time, if I'm playing Grand Tour Spaceship, I want it to hit this Goku. I freaking want it to hit this Goku because that is how I'm going to get going, right? So this card decreases the likelihood of that because it pulls any Goku. But on the flip coin, this is actually really good because he can pull the 3 and the 4, the 3s and the 4, right? So he can pull any GT Goku, and it's like, oh, snap, top 7. Oh, there's SS4. We're definitely going to pull him in my hand because there's only one in the deck. So that's one of the ways that it was really good at cycling through when you're like, okay, well, I have 3 or 4 Time Patrol Trunks. I have 4 Pint-Sized Gokus. I have, draw power with Caulifla, and I have stuff like that, and I have 2 Rushing Warrior Pans, who I'm going to talk about in just a moment. There's a lot of draw power and a lot of, just cycling through, so I could fish out even cards that are in 1, only running 1 in the deck, because, of course, you can only run 1. The Rushing Warrior Pan, she, like I said, fits that archetype of 5k boost. She's a 1-drop, so she can kind of be played whenever. It's just turn 1. I would never really want to play her turn 1. That's the main issue with her that I have always had. I just would never want to play her turn 1. Just because I feel like she's better late game. Just because she can come in, buff anybody, like SS3 Goku, and even just get off the board for a 5k extra boost as a combo and a draw. So she's really good later game, honestly. But I like this Goku early game. That's why there's still 2 of them. So she's good for the draw as well. And the 5k boost, which the cards want. Because if I all of a sudden pop out Quick Rush Trunks and this Pan in the same turn, that same combo I talked about, 20k, yeah, now it's 25k crit early game. Deal with it. So, anyways, handy Giru. Giru's actually really cool. Like, I initially was going to have Vados because it's freaking Vados, and, she's awesome. But Giru's awesome because he's a super combo, and he can be hit with a Grand Tour Spaceship. I was talking to my friend. He didn't even notice that, but Giru can be searched by Grand Tour Spaceship, and you can activate super combos, assuming that you have the required life, which is 4 or less for this one. You can activate super combos from the battle area. So if this card pops Giru out there, assuming you can keep him out there to sustain through 4 life, it's an extra 4 targets as you can hit with this card. But assuming you can keep him out there, no barrier, whatever, so he might be in danger, but in the perfect world, you keep him out there, you can combo with him later and get the super combo effect anyway. It does not have to be in hand. Nowhere in the card does it say, when you combo with this card from your hand, right? So that's just kind of how things are. So Giru is awesome for this deck. He's another target for Grand Tour Spaceship. So speaking of this card, I typically like to play this card when I have 3 energy so I don't get tapped out. But it's really good because even on, when I have 2 energy, I can hit for a Trunks or a Goku. And in the unfortunate scenario where I have to hit for Fearless Pan, I can do that as well. She's at least a blocker. The reason I say unfortunate is early game, I really don't want to pop her out because, she'll give Caulifla double strike in 5k, which is awesome, right? But I don't want that in the wrong scenario. So the deck is really good at swarming just because of the way that it plays. But it did need barrier because I can't afford to leave these cards out there while I build my board, and have them get popped. So the Goku, he's the premise of the whole deck. He raises his battle energy cost by 2 when your life is 4 or less. He's the premise of the deck because he comes up to being a 5 cost, and these 2 SS3s need 5 cost Gokus, and then these guys are needed for SS4 Goku. So you don't necessarily need to win. He's not your only win con, SS4. And that's the way you have to play these secret rare cards because there's only one that you can run in the deck because they have that stupid ultimate restriction. So you have to kind of treat them like an extra card in the deck that's not your only main win con. But this guy right here, which we'll talk about, these 2, in fact, are your main win con anyway. But to make anything work, you basically need this Goku. If you get to a point where you can hard cast these guys without evolving on top of the Goku, fine, but you basically need him. So Fearless Pan, I was talking about her just a moment ago. She can be hit with Grand Tour Spaceship, which is cool in certain scenarios, like later on in the game. And being able to search top 7 for anything I want, basically, because there's a lot of targets, is really, really useful. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, she gives everybody else double strike and 5k, and that includes Caulifla. So all of a sudden, Caulifla and her buff the entire board by a total of 10k. So, and everybody gets double strike. I have to play around that a little bit because I don't really want to hit the opponent with double strike too often unless I'm trying to go for lethal. Because the issue with double strike is you're giving them 2 cards in the hand. Double strike crit though? Double strike crit? See, Quick Rush Trunks is really freaking good. He's really freaking good. Like, when he first came out, I loved him. I just never played him that much because I was playing Mass Sand, and it's like, well, I'd rather use my energy for like Overarm or whatever. But in a deck like this, where I can buff him up, and he can be a massive threat, he's really good. So that's where Fearless Pan, and then of course, not only him, if I need to, this Goku can go aggro too. I mean, he's crit too. So she's really good. Also a blocker card, so that's an extra kind of, defensive negate-esque card. So she's really good. Quick Rush Trunks evolves into Chain Attack Trunks if I want to do that. Of course, I can hard cast him. He only costs 4 energy. That may or may not be a lot, depending on the scenario or the speed of the game. But you can hard cast him out there if you need to, but nonetheless, 2 energy. So basically, you can play Quick Rush Trunks for 2 energy using either him or Grand Tour Spaceship. And then the following turn, if it's early game anyway, you can play Chain Attack Trunks for that exact same 2 energy on top of him. And this guy can come in as a active mode threat. So, you know how I said, like, sometimes I like to leave my cards out there in active mode and they'll get popped or whatever. But that's why they need a barrier. Well, this card says, screw your barrier, screw any of that. I'm just going to attack your cards that you're trying to leave out there in active mode. And what are you going to do about it? So he's really good at that. And then on top of that, he helps build board advantage. He can pop out a 15k, which ideally in the perfect world would be this SS3 Goku. Yeah, that's ideal. Otherwise, Pan, another Trunks can come out. These 1-drops can come out. I mean, technically, you can play Time Patrol if you need to. Giru, technically. You don't want to play those 2 targets. There are better targets for this card just in general, like Zeno, like the GT Vegeta, like the 3-drop Gohan, I believe, that draws and has double strike and stuff like that. But in the premise of this deck, he can come out, I can bring Fearless Pan out, and all of a sudden, again, we have that board advantage. We have double strikers. We have, stuff like that, maybe crits. So he's really cool. It's just sometimes I don't really need him because Grand Tour Spaceship, honestly, can get the job done that he would be doing. So sometimes he gets a bit redundant and he just winds up getting charged. Now, for the ratios of this, I entirely think this one is better than the other one. Just going to put that out there. I think the, one from the pack is better than the one from the starter deck. But in the premise of this deck, not exactly. Because here's how EX Evolves work. If you did not know, this is on the FAQ for... I have to explain this kind of often because it's kind of a weird thing. It's on the FAQ for the official website, okay? EX Evolves say the card that you evolve on top of, the card you evolve into. For example, if I evolve the 3-drop into this 6-drop, and he had like 1,500 plus attack, these guys get that. Okay, that's how it works. He doesn't get the double strike. Say Pan gave him 5k, double strike, whatever. He'd keep the 5k, but he wouldn't keep the double strike when he turned into this guy. So this guy would come out as a 30k, so on and so forth. The reason I point that out is, for one, he gets an additional 5k for the duration of the turn, yada, yada. So it's another card that boosts its own attack. Caulifla, 5k, all these extra 5k boosts all over the place. Senzubin, all that stuff, okay? All ties into this guy because when he gets to 60k, he starts popping life for free. So all he needs really is 4 buffs because there's a bunch of, 5ks in here. He only needs 4. But, this guy's really good. Being able to, do that Jiren thing where he attacks and restands helps destroy board advantage to the opponent and kind of take advantage of the game. So awesome. The reason why I'm moving on from him to this guy is because he's triple strike for 1 if you need to. Which is insane when you think about it, because when he gets to 40k, which is actually ridiculously easy to do in this deck, he instantly turns into triple strike. So that's why I said with all the 5k buffs, he instantly becomes that, and he's able to do that. And you can attack with him for triple strike damage. This is where stuff gets messed up. You can go triple strike, right? EX evolve into SS4. You have to drop 2 cards for that and 1 red energy. So assuming you have 1 extra red energy, you can do this play, right? Now, he's going to come into play already tapped because it's not a Zeno evolve. He's going to come into play already tapped, but he has to activate main. Place 2 red cards from your hand in the drop area, and you can restand him. So since you can restand him, the Goku doesn't have double strike. He doesn't have critical. He doesn't have triple strike, quad strike, anything, right? He only has single strike. I'm getting a lot of subs, but thank you guys. He only has single strike. So since he has single strike, he's able to go from there and move on into instantly popping life. So since he can instantly pop the life, what happens is, even if they negate, they just instantly lose. Assuming you have the hand advantage, which the deck is good at building up, they just instantly lose. So he comes out already at 60k if you evolve him on top of these Gokus, which you have to do anyway. And assuming you've built them up enough with Caulifla, with the Pans, with either Pan actually, with the Sensus, with anything, he's good. And how he works is when this card attacks, he gains an additional 5k himself. So if he hits 60k, he's good. It's not he attacks and then he combos. No, that's separate. You can't combo up to 60k from the ruling I've heard from judges. As soon as he hits 60k, he instantly starts popping. And if you negate the attack, you still take a life and stuff like that. It's not a combo up to, it's when this card attacks. If he has 60k or more, you instantly do it. Not attack, combo phase, and now he's at 60, now pop a life. So that's how that card works. And all in all, like I said, Caulifla's really good. You just need that one energy a lot of the time, because EX evolving only costs one energy in this deck. So that's how I look at it. To move on a little bit, there could be potential black options that you would replace the Time Patrol for. If you wanted to, you can run Scientist, who, like I said, he also costs an energy, which, like I said, that one energy makes a really big difference in this deck, which is what made me put the blue package in there. Because, again, it was initially mono red. So there's that. Trunks costs 2 energy. Scientist, who replaces himself in your hand by drawing 2, so that's awesome. And he also comes out as the double strike threat, so I understand why he would be there. I run him in most decks. Trunks Overseeing Time replaces a separate card from your Warp in your hand, which could be good for like super combos or whatever. And he also has a double strike as well. So if you want that black card in your deck to be more of a threat, you can do that. Zeno the Plain God, an extra blue card you could charge if you need to, because really you only need to charge 1 blue card, and every blue card will be active from there, assuming you don't tap the energy for red cards. But Zeno resets board if you need to. I don't know if I would need to do that, so I would probably side deck him. Kaba as an option. Like I said, I don't feel like you need Kaba, but he's still an option. The extra 2 pint size. This isn't my sideboard, by the way. This is sideboard mixed in with the extra cards I can show you guys to put in if you want to. Pint size, yeah, you could also bump it up to 4 and probably reduce Pan, the 1-drop Pan, down to 2. Dauntless Kale, I'd probably run at most 2 to 3 because she can come out for free at any point that you draw her. So, again, helps with board advantage. And she can also become a bit of a threat, too, right? She's a blocker. She can become a bit of a threat, too, because of the 5K pump. So, early game, 10K, you can just swing for free, basically, if you would like to. She's a blocker, so I'd probably keep her inactive. But, nonetheless, to each his own. Double Shot Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta was actually a card that was initially in my main build. But he's one of the cards that got dropped for the blue package. Him and Topo, actually. Jiren was sideboarded. So, the reason I like him is because he comes out for free, basically, and he's another card that comes in as 20k, with the pump, maybe 25 if Fearless Pan pops out there, and he's able to go super aggro in this deck, and I really like him. I might try to find room for him again. It's just I can't stress enough how much that 1 energy was needed. So if anything, I might drop the Chain Attack Trunks, to be honest, and add him back in. Jiren, I love this card. He just still feels too slow. He felt too slow prior to the errata. Still feels way slow. So I'll just have to try to see what happens with him. And Topo, he's really good. Costs 2 red energy, though, so that's why I deemed him not necessary. But if you want to, you can put him back in. He's honestly a swap for swap if you want to for the Chain Attack Trunks anyway. They both kind of are there to help with, sustaining battle. Topo saved me in that Mecha Veggie matchup, too, because he's able to attack, active mode, attack, active mode, attack, active mode. And 20k under this leader being 25k, and then again, I can't stress the 5ks that are all over the place a lot of the time. He's actually really massive as a threat, to be honest, offensively. So you pop him out there, and it's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to combo over this, or no? You're going to let your Kaba die? You need your Kaba, your green Kaba. He's only 10, though, so you're going to have to drop like 15k of energy, of power, to get over that. So he's cool as a nice threat. So that's just my premise on it. Like I said earlier, I feel like SS3 Goku could be a better leader just to get stuff out faster. So I'm going to playtest this a little more. Of course, you can't even really playtest this 100% because this card is not out yet. But when this card wasn't in the deck, I just ran the double shots and the topos and stuff like that. All 3 of these cards at the top were added in at the last second. Initially, I had 4 pint-sized, 3 of these time patrols, and the Jiren and Vegeta were in the deck instead. So anyways, have an awesome day. Thank you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Take it easy, guys, and peace out.